Jessica, you want to come join me up front?
Absolutely.
All right. So Jessica Smith is one of my best friends.
Oh.
I met her the day after my last relationship started, and we sat down for coffee. She's like, "Why do you keep hitting me up on Facebook and asking me to meet up for coffee?" Because she has such a vibrant personality, and she just attracts those people that want to improve.
Thank you.
Right? That's what I love about you.
I loved when you hit me up on social media.
Mhm.
We were like instant
I
friends.
slid up into your DMs.
You did.
I did. But not with that intent. So we sat down for coffee, and I was telling her about how excited I was about my date the night before.
Yes.
And then you just had her seeing it coming. Like 3 months later.
You know, sometimes you just gotta play those things out.
Yeah, play it out. And then we met for coffee again in April, and we got breaking my heart.
Thanks for catching that.
And then we met again as a follow-up, and we really kind of shared vulnerably what we were going through, each of us, recent breakups, and then this beautiful relationship, a friendship, a collaboration came out. So Jessica's been a guest on the podcast a couple times. She interviewed me,
Yes.
and then I got the chance to interview her too.
Yes.
So I bring Jessica up. Give us like 30 to 60 seconds of like who you are, why you do what you do.
Hi. Nice to meet you guys. Thanks for coming out. I'm Jessica Smith. I'm a dating coach and the host of my podcast, Game of Love. And I help people who are overwhelmed and frustrated with their dating life, from yoga moms to professional athletes. I help them get excited about dating, help them navigate the dating space, and then manifest the love that they're looking for.
I'm that person, I think.
Yeah.
I recently got overwhelmed with dating. I'm like, I'm going to take a little break. And it's extremely good for me.
Good.
But why I asked Jessica to come up first before we do anything else is I have some questions about common modern dating terms that you might run across. Maybe some behaviors, maybe some ghosting that goes along. That's not on my list to ask you about because everybody knows what ghosting is.
Yeah, you guys know what it is, right? Everybody's good at ghosting.
Anybody unclear on what ghosting is?
It's Snapchat, right?
So Jeff doesn't know what ghosting is because he's been in a marriage for 30 plus years now.
Be pretty awkward if you ghosted your wife.
Yeah. So that would be like your.
Or maybe I have, I don't know it.
Oh.
Right? So that would be like you're dating somebody, you're communicating with them, you're interested in them, and then all of a sudden you just don't hear back from them.
They just go poof.
Yep, they just ghost. They're like, they disappear, like a ghost can. So we've picked out a few, but you're going to surprise me with one. What did you learn today?
Oh, so I learned one today. Textationship. Yes.
Right? A textationship?
Yes. It's when you have only a texting relationship with someone and not actually an in-person relationship.
So you never call each other on the phone.
Right.
You never see each other in person.
No.
So this is like a pen pal.
This is like a pen pal.
But
a
maybe-
virtual pen pal.
Okay, but maybe like, have you defined the relationship? DTR?
No.
No. So it's like,
But now we have a term. We can define it. It's like,
Text.
oh, we're in a textationship.
that's so cute. We're 13 again. The first common modern dating term that I want to know about is submarining.
Submarining. Okay. Do you guys know this term?
Can you say it again?
Submarining.
Submarining.
I'm not gonna lead you in this one.
Okay.
This is
You're
dating.
right to my right.
This isn't sexual, right?
This is just dating, not
Okay.
sexual.
I think there might be another related term. It's a great punchline.
In the dating. In the dating.
Okay, we're going there.
I'm squirming in my seat over here because I don't know what the sexual version of submarining is. Single for 2 years, go figure.
So submarining. Okay. For the record, submarining drives me crazy. Okay. Submarining is. Okay. Picture a submarine. It's under the water, and then every once in a while it comes up to the surface. So it's those people that you're texting with, if you're on dating apps or Instagram, or if you're, wherever. These people are kind of dormant, and then they pop up every once in a while, and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?
and then they go back. So this happened to me not too long ago, like a couple weeks ago. I was on Hinge, a dating app, and this woman reached back out after 3 months and said, hey, here's my number, give me a call. What kind of expectations are we dealing with there that like after 3 months I don't hear from you, you're gonna expect a phone call or a text? Tation shit right away.
Right.
So that's partially why I get a little bit overwhelmed with the dating world, is because I've experienced this term and I wanted an expert to share with me what the hell is going on. Up next, what is orbiting?
Oh, orbiting is someone, especially with social media and dating apps, someone who is watching you, and they might like a picture, or they are showing up on your stories, they're watching your stories, but they don't ever do anything. They just watch, so they just orbit. So you're like the Earth, and they're like these little satellite that's going around and checking in on you.
Now, in my experience, this happens to me with women I've gone out on a couple dates with, maybe 1 date, 2 dates, 3 dates, or something like that. And maybe they ghost me, but then they still pay attention on like Facebook, they like an image every now and then, or Instagram, they like an image, or they're watching my Instagram stories.
Right.
And this happened to me last summer, and I actually reached out to the girl, because we had some good conversations in the few weeks that we dated, and I said, let me ask you an honest question. What is it about my stories that keeps you watching? She's like, I don't know, I don't do it on purpose. Just like in the row of stories that come up in this little dot at the top of your app. Oh yeah, right, that's plausible. Because that's so far-fetched. But
I do think that's kind of plausible, actually.
You call that haunting?
Yeah,
A haunting, so a haunting takes it a step further, like they're giving you just a little bit of hope, and they're putting themselves in your dreams just a little bit. But like on Instagram, if you only have 300 accounts that you're following, there aren't that many Instagram stories in the row that come up next. And if I've got 3 or 4 Instagram stories in a day, and she watches all 4, that's not just oops. So after a while, instead of getting frustrated and overwhelmed, I simply just unfollow. Okay, then I'm taking it out of my life, out of my thread. And it's a kind of a symbolism for life. Like if it's negative in any way, I'm going to push it off to the side and not see it on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Cuffing season. What is cuffing season?
Cuffing season is, well, there seems to be a natural order of things in the dating and mating worlds. We think of spring, it's time for mating, right? So let's start with summertime, okay, right before cuffing season. Summertime, it's nice out, we're feeling possibilities, we're going out to the Rockies game, we're like, ooh, there's gonna be some good looking women here, some men here, it's gonna be fun, there's hope, there's options, people are out and about. And then towards the end of the summer, people are like, okay, I'm not really finding anybody, or maybe there's a situationship that you're sleeping with someone, and you're like, okay, are we gonna make this official?
We define that one in our December minute.
I feel like we need a glossary.
Yeah, right.
I got a handout. So coming out of summertime, there's this I want to, we feel winter coming, and it's I want to cohabitate, I want to settle down, and so that's cuffing season. The season it's hey, you want to be in a relationship now?
Yeah. I want a warm body through the winter.
Yeah.
And
Cuff me.
hibernation. So get cuffed up. I love this term in particular because it's very seasonal.
Someone's a safe word.
My safe word is submarine. So I love sports analogies when it comes to dating.
Yes.
Summer that she was talking about is preseason, where I may be going out with 4 or 5 different people over the course of the 2 months that lead up to September, which is the official cuffing season.
Right.
And then we got tryouts, where I'm going to narrow it down to maybe 1 or 2 people I'm trying out on a more regular basis during September and October.
Yep.
And then we've got our in season, where I select one person to cuff up with for the winter. And if you can make it, this is what my friend Jess Ryan, who hosts the Singling podcast in San Diego, she's been a guest on the podcast, she's amazing. She says that cuffing season lasts through Valentine's Day. And if you can make it through Valentine's Day with this person you're cuffed up, you're officially in a relationship. You're actually gonna be successful, or make it, is her quote unquote. You're gonna make it if you make it through Valentine's Day.
All right.
You ready to move on?
Yeah.
Well, I've mentioned this just a little bit. DTR.
Oh, the challenger loves this one, doesn't he?
I do, absolutely.
Define the relationship.
Define the relationship.
Oh, this also comes through as, what are we doing here? What is this?
Can we get on the same page?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's are we on the same page here? Like, we've been dating through cuffing season, tryouts, and preseason for a few months now. I got questions.
Are we dating?
Are we dating?
Are you my boyfriend?
Is this a situationship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the conversation of, well, it's the need and the need to want to have a conversation with someone and then actually have a conversation with them.
So is it more common that men initiate this conversation or women?
Oh, I think intrinsically we all want to have it. I hear more women talking about it. Not saying that the men aren't thinking about it or feeling it. Stereotypically, women are more likely to be like, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
So.
I've been pondering this very topic for a long time. You know, single and I'm like dating. I'm like, do I want to actually have this conversation of defining a relationship? And as a man, I kind of feel this tug and this pull for leadership in the relationship. Like it's almost my responsibility to say, let's define a relationship, and at that point, I can trust my intuition and I can tune into my gut and say, because I'm feeling this pull, maybe I'm not ready, maybe it's this person, maybe I know that it's not the right fit, and then that's why I'm holding off on defining a relationship.
Well, if I could share a little secret, and hang with me while I break this down. With my female clients who are seeing a guy and they're wanting to lock him down, I will tell them, don't try to do it. You can put parameters on what you're willing to do within the confines of that current relationship, but biologically, men are the hunters and they want to pursue. And so I'll tell my clients, I'm like, look, we're not doing an ultimatum. We're just gonna, like, there's certain things we're gonna do. We're gonna have boundaries, and we're gonna have him come to us. Because what I found through my experience is men really don't like it when you're like, are you my boyfriend now? And when they're pursuing, it's just like, it feels good to them. They feel masculine.
And we could probably talk for
I
hours
know.
about
I'm looking at Jeff. I'm like,
he's getting some nods out of this.
So are those boundaries something that you would communicate with the man like prior?
Perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah, there definitely could be things that it's like, you know, maybe it's like a sexual thing. I don't know why that first comes to my head.
Because it's healthy.
Because you're looking at
safe,
me.
I think.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, I was just joking.
Yeah.
Wow, some popping chemistry. So what Jessica brings up is really important. That, like, the safe and healthy boundaries around this parameter that we're talking about. If we're not in an exclusive relationship by definition, then safety and health are going to be a concern in our modern world of defining what those parameters are, even if you don't want to be exclusive at the time, boyfriend, girlfriend, titles, labels aside, still safety and health are priorities.
Definitely.
Nick?
I just wanted to clarify, is the DTR, is that just a term? Is that a positive thing, a negative thing? Because
It's like an
in some
event.
ways I feel like you're always defining relationships, so, but maybe that's for another section.
Like an event. Like, it happens this time where we're like, let's get mutually exclusive, boyfriend, girlfriend, and then it can happen again. Do we want to get engaged?
Right.
And then it can happen again,
Yeah.
when's the wedding
Okay.
date? So it's progressive over time, and that's fluid. Yeah, just love that's why I'm so freaking fascinated by modern relationships. Dave, do you have a question?
So what can the guy do to keep the lines of communication open to the girl before he's ready to lock it down and cuff up?
Lock
You
it down.
started it there. You started it. It's cuffing season. That is a great question, and I have a lot of great examples of men in the room of just really just talking. I mean, just being vulnerable and being assertive and just talking your way through the relationship. I mean, for you, it might be like, it might be a cute and flirty thing. It might be really serious. It could be like, I'm really digging you. You're my girlfriend now. It could be something like that, or it could be something like, this is what we have is really good, and I'm not seeing anyone else, and I would like to hear where you're at right now, if you're seeing anybody else, because I would really like to see where this is going. I love that.
So how would you balance that with, I guess, like current culture of the current culture of this sort of like rejection of like toxic masculinity, for example, where you wouldn't say, yeah, I'm throwing fastballs to you right now, where maybe you as a woman want a more domineering, more dominant male figure as a like to be in a relationship, but obviously that sort of, I guess, personality can tend to veer towards it like toxic masculinity side, where it's like, I want this is what I deserve, so I'm gonna take it, and if you don't give it to me, like then you're bad or something like that, you know what I'm saying? So like how would you balance that?
Can we table that until the
Yeah,
panelists,
sorry, I know
contribute?
that's probably a heavy
That is
question.
a great question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that is a great question.
Yeah.
So that's my first time. I kind of get an idea what you're saying when you say toxic masculinity. But for the guy who doesn't know much about anything, can you define, if I'm ready to this concept of toxic masculinity, what does that actually mean? What characteristics of that? My awareness when you answer the question, I'm on page.
Do me one favor.
Yeah.
We have some experts in the room that are actually going to talk about that,
Oh.
and I want to have that community.
Yes.
Occur.
I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's a big one.
it is.
It's a big one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before we get to that, let's just finish up a few more terms.
All right.
But I'm gonna
Sorry.
have that one
I don't want to try to derail anything.
at the forefront of my mind. It's definitely on my heart that I want to discuss. So we're gonna give it some space later.
Cool.
Yeah.
This is new to me. What is hot wifing?
Oh my gosh. I had to look this up. I had to look this up, and I was like, really? Okay, we're going to talk about this today. All right. So it's a couple that are in a relationship, and there's a hot wife, and the husband just thinks it's cool if she goes out and has other male sexual relationships and partners.
And that leads us. That's heavy, but it leads us right into our next term. What is polyamory?
Oh, that's just as simple as having one core person in a relationship, having two people in a relationship that are exclusive, yet they have other boyfriends and girlfriends and sexual partners outside, but they still have their home base of their relationship.
Sounds exhausting. And coincidentally, the episode that aired on Monday is called Polyamorous Relationships with a doctor of sex therapy. And we were so lucky to have found somebody willing to have the conversation with me about that. And she, Dr. Jenny Schuyler, she runs the Intimacy Institute in Boulder, Colorado. So she defines polyamory as loving many. And the parameters can be one love after another. And by definition, that can fall into polyamory. To Dave's question earlier, if we're not yet exclusive define the relationship, you could still be loving many up until that point of defining the relationship. So there is this spectrum from here to there that all of this loving many can fall.
And that's what makes our dating world and our world of love so daunting and scary and weird. And it also makes it very beautiful, because it's like, I was having this conversation with my mom the other day. She's like, I wish people just had a sign on them, like who's single, who's married, and what they want. So you could just go through people. I'm like, I know, Mom. And I said, you know, it's crazy because really, I'm like, any of us could show up in, you know, our Thanksgiving dinner and say, you know, this is my husband and these are my 2 girlfriends. You know, it's like everything goes in our culture right now, and it's pretty. It is wild. It's fascinating.
Do you think that's like a positive or a negative thing, like that ability to, like, I could show up to Thanksgiving with 2 girlfriends, or
You're
like, do you
taking
think,
it.
well, do you think that's a positive?
That's definitely a conversation that I want to devote some time to as well,
Okay.
for sure. Let's finish up with this last term. Numbers game.
Oh, a numbers game. I think a lot of people who are in the dating world right now, it is a numbers game. It's like we're bombarded with options. If it's on dating apps, if it's out at a club, or if it's on social media, and it's like, okay, I'll date you. If that doesn't work, okay, there's 15 of you or other people in line waiting. And so it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna keep blowing through these people until I find a good one.
On to the next.
Do you
And
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
hit me.
Sorry. Do you feel like with the numbers game thing, there could be some toxicity associated with the numbers game concept?
Absolutely.
Of course. Oh yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
'Cause
So
it's like,
Probably on both sides, not even necessarily like masculine toxicity, you know? Like,
Well, yeah, that's
definitely probably.
this is not secretary masculinity, it's just
yeah, because it's like, it's a cool thing that we have so many opportunities to connect with people from all over the world. Yet it's, in this dating culture, it's like, well, I might not spend a lot of time hanging out with you because, you know, there's 15,000 other people over here, and so there's a little bit of like FOMO, fear of missing out, and it's like, so there's a little bit of detachment and a little less connection from person to person when it's, you know, the market's so saturated, so to speak.
I like to remind myself that the grass is not always greener on the other side. The grass is greener where I water it. And the more I pour into what I'm focused on right now, maybe that's one relationship, and the more I pour into that, the greener the grass gets. But if I no longer water it, then of course I'm going to view grass is always greener on the other side, maybe because it's fertilized with bullshit. I actually saw that quote the other day, like, maybe the grass is greener on the other side because it's fertilized. BS. Thank you so much for defining those terms for me.